Okay. See, in today's session, so we'll just see how do we define the named range. How do you define the name for this particular range? So first thing is, why do we need a name, or what is a name? Generally, when I talk about a name is an identifier. So you want to identify something, so we give a name. So with the help of the name, we identify it. Okay. See, something like, when you talk about employees and all these things, so they have a employee ID, plus they have a name. So what happens is, the easy way to identify is, okay, when you are calling them regularly, we don't call with the employee ID, or we don't call with the roll number for the student. We call with the names. So now I can say it's an easy way to access some info. Okay, we use the name. Now, since we are working with Excel, you're working with large set of ranges or cells. So every cell has a name. Okay, so we know when I talk about any cell, so just imagine like I'm focusing over here. So now this belongs to which cell now? So it belongs to cell L. Okay, and it belongs to a particular row, say 9. Okay, it belongs to 9th row, and the L, this one. So you can see the name of this is given as L9. So that is, every cell has a name, and generally that name is a combination of column name and the row number. Fine. Now, when I just have a small data, you get the names like this, say C5 or D5 or something. When the data becomes large, okay, when you grow, so you can see the names becomes like this, F1048, this one. So when I move like this, so you can see now the names becomes little more complex, because you're having a column itself with 3 alphabets and some 4-digit, 5-digit numbers of this one. So now the column names become something like this. When the data is larger, so you can see your names becomes more complex things. So now, to simplify that, so you can identify, see, some cells are very important that you're going to access very frequently. Instead of going with the default name, you can define your own name. So how do we define your own name? So we'll look into that. Now let us do one thing. I have some data over here. I just want to calculate the total of all these particular salaries. I'll just refer it over here. I just say is equal to sum of, I'll refer to this particular range of data, and I just press enter. Okay, got it. So that means this cell, okay, is containing the values of all these particulars. It is summing all these particular salaries. Okay, it is showing one output. Now I want to call this particular cell in a different sheet, okay, or in different location. If I want to call in a different location, what you do? What is the name of this cell? J23. So I'll just say is equal to J23. If I say J23, I'll get whatever the value is there. I'll be able to get this. So now if I want to, if it is in the same sheet, what you do first thing is we need to either remember that name as J23, or if I don't know what is that particular name, so what I do, I'll just scroll and then check where it is. I select and I press enter. Automatically Excel will copy that particular name, and it will try to find, okay, is equal to, refer to that particular cell, and it will get the value. That is a good thing. Now what I want is, I want to this, I want to call this particular total net salary. This is a total of the net salaries. No, I want to call this particular total of net salary in a different sheet. Say example, I have a different sheet here. I want to call it in this place. If I have to call, what I need to do, I just say is equal to, see, if I say J23, what will happen? If I say J23, it will refer to the J23 of the same sheet. So that means what is happening, it is referring to the J23 which belongs to the same sheet. I say no, it has to refer to that sheet. So one way is we need to refer to that name. I say sheet 1, and then we say explanation, and then we call. And you press enter, I got the value. Okay, so that means if I'm calling it across, so what is that I need to do? I need to refer to the name of the sheet, and then we put an exclamation mark. Okay, that is a separator between the name of the sheet and the cell name, and then we refer to the cell name. So I got this. So now see, like, sometimes your sheet names are long. Say example, the name of the sheet is employee details. So when I say employee details, so now you can see once I have referred it, automatically it gets updated. So that is a good feature. Or you don't know, like, how do we go for this and all. So you can do an easy way is you just put a hit on the equal to sign. go to the respective sheet, go to the respective cell, click on that and press enter. This will also do the same job. So that means it is referring to this particular employee details. In the employee details, it is referring to this particular column J23. I'm able to get this. Fine. Now, what I want is, I don't want to do this exercise, going to that particular sheet, where is that searching, then locating. No, I should be able to call it as a simple words with a simple name. So for that purpose, we go for this particular defining our own names or the named range. So what I will do is, if I want to define a name, your own name, see right now this particular cell is referred as J23. So this can be referred only within this particular sheet. If I have to refer across, I need to use a fully qualified name. So now I'll go for this particular sheet in this particular cell. And after selecting this particular cell, I'll go to this name box and I'll redefine my own name. I'll define my own name. So I'm just clicking here. I say it's a total net salary. Fine. What I've done here is I focused on this particular cell, which is containing the total net salary. I have gone to this particular name box and I have defined a name here, telling, okay, it's a total net salary. Okay. And then I just press a enter key. As soon as I press the enter key, you can see this cell refers to O22, this cell refers to this. But when I focus on that, this particular cell, it is referring as, okay, I just need to say total, I say net salary. Okay, is accepted. So you can see this cell is referring as J23, J24, but this cell is referring as total net salary. You can see this. Okay, so that means instead of referring this particular cell as J23, I have given my own custom name. Now, what is the use of this particular thing? So what I do, I just say is equal to, I say total net salary. So you can see automatically I get in the IntelliSense here, and I select this, you get this back. So it is not here. Anywhere, any cell, you just go there and you want this, you just say is equal to total net salary, I'll be able to get this value. So that means you don't have to go to a different sheet, look for that, pick the value. No, okay, you can directly call. Clear? Okay. So now this is one advantage of defining this particular custom name. Instead of writing like this, I can write with my own name. I just say is equal to total net salary and press enter. You can see the difference. In this case, I'm referring to a sheet name and then it is J23. It is referring to one of the cells, but still I don't know what is the J23. But when you see this particular formula, oh, this cell is containing nothing but the value of J23. So this is the benefit of defining a name for a cell. Okay. Now, this particular name can be defined even for the range of data. See, I want to do the sum of this particular salary or average of this particular salary, or I want to know what is the highest salary or the lowest salary and all these things. So in that case, I need to keep selecting this particular range again and again. So what I do is, instead of selecting like this J22, J21 again and again, I can just define this particular range of data with a name. So what I'll do is I'll just select this range of data. I just go to the name box. That means I've selected. I'll go to the name box, and in the name box, I'll just type the name. So I'll just type the name as net salary. Fine. Now what happens is this range of data is been referred with this name as net salary. Okay. So now what I want to do is I just want to find what is the highest salary in this. I just say is equal to, I say max of, I don't have to keep dragging this. I can just say it as net salary. This will tell me what is the highest salary. So 25,000. What is the total salary? I'll just say is equal to, I say sum of, I say net salary. So this will tell me what is the total salary. I want to know what is the average. I just say is equal to average of net salary. So you can see I don't have to keep dragging every time. Or if you don't know the name, you can also do that particular thing. So I just want to find the sum. I just say sum and you select, and you can see as soon as you select this particular thing, it changes the name, okay, to the name what has been defined for that particular range. It is done. Fine. So here, this will be very useful when the data is very large. When the data is very large, we have thousands of rows, and then you need to select that particular range of data. You know how difficult it is to, after you say is equal to within the function, doing that particular scrolling and selection and all this thing is not that easy job. But here, okay, just type the name, so automatically the selection will happen. Now, one more beauty of this is, see, if this you're trying to do within the same sheet is easy. But if I'm trying to do the same thing across in a different sheet, I want to know what is the highest salary or the lowest salary. I just, okay, in previous case, what I need to do, I used to write this particular function, open the bracket, go there, and then do a selection. I can just say here as net sal. So you can see it says what is the lowest value in that particular net sal field. I want to find what is the highest. I just say it as max of, say, net sal. So this is trying to tell me what is the highest salary. I want to know what is the total in that particular thing. I say sum of net sal. So this will tell me what is the total of net sal, or average of, say, net sal. So this will tell me what is the average salary and all these things. Cool. Okay, so this is the kind of benefits, like, you know, you don't have to go across a different sheet to get this within the same place. Okay, I can get it by defining this particular name. And not only that, your formula also becomes more meaningful. That is when I focus on that cell, that what it is trying to do. Okay, fine, it is trying to find the average of salary. So this is nothing but the total of salary. By focusing on that, it gives me more clear idea of what it is, and it becomes more easy to do any kind of calculations across the whole workbook. Okay. Okay. Next is, now let us do one thing is we'll try to find out the different functions what is there in Excel. So, you know, we have a different count functions. So, you know, we have a different count function. So we have something called as count. We have something called as count A. We have something called as count blank. We do also have function called as count if, and do also have something called as count ifs. Okay, you know, there are a lot of different types of count functions in Excel. We have something called as a count, count A, count blanks, count if, and also count ifs. Now we'll try to see what is the difference of this. Okay, when to use which count. Okay, now let us take an example here. I just have some employees. I say some employees are absent. They have not taken the salary or thing. I say something. Okay, and so some managers, you know, they might, data might be empty also. They might not work for a salary. Okay. Now what I want to do is, in this particular net salary column, I want to know how many people get the salaries. Okay, or I want to know how many people are there. So I just want to know how many people are there in this particular list. So what generally we do is we say is equal to count. Okay, and I try to select this particular range of data, which is your net salary. So now you can see the count function, it is giving me as 17. But when you look into the actual this one here, see, it is starting from 2 and it is going till 21. Okay, from 2 to 21. That means we actually have all this E1, 2, 3 till 20. That means we have 20 employees. But the output, I'm expecting it to be as 20, but it is showing was only 17. You know why? What happens is when I use a count, count function will count only the numerical data. So in this particular cells, okay, out of 20, we have 17 numerical data, 2 cells which has a non-numerical data, and 2 two cells has non-numerical data, one is empty. It is not counting the empty cells, it is not counting the blank cells, it is counting only the cells which contains the numeric data. Fine. Now what I want to do is, my question is, I just want to find out how many employees are there. If I have to find out how many employees are there, the best thing is count based on the employee number or based on the name, because every employee has a name. Okay, so let us do one thing here. We'll try to count based on the name. If I try to count based on the name, I just say is equal to count, and then I'll select this particular name here, okay, the range, and I press enter key. What happens? Oh, it is giving me a 0. I said count and I selected this range of data. I was expecting the output to be as 20, but it is showing as 0. Why is that? As I said before, count function will count only the numerical data. It will not count for the text data, but the names are text. So what I do is, we have this function here called as count A. So you can see we have this particular function called as count A. What count A function will do? It counts the numerical, counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Means in the cells, okay, it will count the cells which contain some data. The data can be anything. It can be text, it can be numbers, it can be dates, or it can be any special characters, symbols, no problem. It will not count the empty cells. It will count all the non-empty cells. That means the cells which contains any data. So let us try this now. When I say count A, now you can see we are getting this output as 20. Okay, you got the difference between the count and the count A. Count will count only the numerical data. Count A will count the cells which contains any data other than blanks. Okay. The next thing is, okay, let us take an example here. In the employees, we have a commission column. Some people are getting commission, some people's commission is null. I want to know in this particular list, how many people are not getting commission. I want to know how many people are not getting commission. In that case, what I'll do, I have this function called as count blank. I have this function here called as count blank. As the name only says, count blank, it will count only the cells which contains the blank data. So I'll just say count blank of this particular range of data. And you can see when I press enter, it says 9. So that 9 is nothing but the empty cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it is 8, then it is 9. It is nothing this particular thing. Fine. Okay. This is, yeah, count blank. Count blank will count only the empty cells. Or I want to know how many people are getting commission in this case. So we can use a count. I say is equal to count of this range of data. This will tell me, so out of 20 people, 11 people are getting commission, 9 people are blank, that is no commission. So we have seen 3 functions here. We have seen count, count A, count blanks. That means count will count only the numerical data. Counts only numerical data. Fine. When it comes to count A, what a count A will do, it counts the cell which contains any data. Counts cells which is not empty. Okay, so any data but non-empty data. When I use a count blank, it counts only the cell which contains which are empty in the range. Counts empty cells. I've got it with this. So the difference between the count A and the count blank. Next is, we'll see with the count if. As the name says, count if. The count if function is used to count based on a certain given condition. Okay, it's a conditional count. Based on a condition you want to count, you use this particular function here called as a COUNTIF. How will you do it? Now, take an example again. We have this particular employees here. So we have some net salary. I want to know how many people earn more than 10,000. I just want to know how many people are earning more than 10,000. Let me have a bigger value here. Sorry. I want to know how many out of this employees, how many people earn more than 10,000. Okay. So in that case, I need to check individual cell whether it is above 10,000. If it is above 10,000, I say it's a count 1. Then again here, no. Okay, here we have count 2. We have 3. That means out of all these 20 people, we have 3 people who earn more than 10,000. So I want to write a formula and then I want to get it. So in that case, I'll use this function called as COUNTIF. Okay, so I'll use this particular function here called as a COUNTIF. That is, it is counting based on a condition. So how the COUNTIF will do? See here, when you look into it, COUNTIF takes 2 parameters. One is the range of data on which you want to do this counting, and the second is the criteria. The criteria is you want to count only those cells which satisfies this particular condition. So you are going to provide a condition, and that condition will be given as a string within the double quotes. So now the range of data is what? I say it's net cell. Okay, so I'm counting on the net cell. And my criteria, what is my condition here? So I want to look for this particular cells whose value is more than 10K. So my condition will be given in the double quotes here. I say greater than or equal to 10,000. 100,000, 10,000. Okay, let me enter. So you can see here what is happening. You're getting the output as 3. And when you look into this particular formula here, I said COUNTIF. I'm trying to count on this particular net cell, and my criteria is count only those cells whose value is more than 10,000. So in this, it goes to my whole net salary in this particular range of data. It counts only those particular values which is more than 10,000, and then it gets the head count of that. Okay, so this is the use of what you say COUNTIF. That is, you're trying to count based on a certain given condition. Or say example, I want to know how many male employees are there. So like example, how many male employees are there? So in that case, what I'll do, I'll just say is equal to count. And then I'll just say, okay, first is the range of, I use a COUNTIF. Okay, I'll use a COUNTIF function. Then I'll select the range of data. I just want to count on this, comma. What is the criteria? I just say male. So when I give like this, so it says in this, I have totally 10 male employees. So when you count this, so male will be 10. So if I just say this is male, so you can see that has increased. So if I say Scott is also male, so you can see this has increased. Okay, this is how we use this particular thing. And we can also refer, like, you know, I just try to give a JR here. I say, I'll just try to give a kind of a drop down where people can select it. I say gender, and yeah, and I want to have a drop down list. I'll try to put a validation here so people can do a selection. I just say validation. I'll just say I want to have a list. I just say list is male and say male. Okay, I've just defined. Okay, I just want this to be as male and male. I say okay. No need of yeah. So I've just defined the validations here. So to give the male or female. So I just want to know how many male are there, how many female are there. I can just say, and I can do one thing is I can define the name for this range. I can select this and I say I give the name as gender. That means select this particular range of data. This range of data I've just given the name as gender. So I don't have to go there and keep selecting. So here, if I have to calculate, I just say is equal to count. If okay, the first range is my what you call it as criteria range. So what is my criteria range? I'm looking in the gender region. Then the second thing is criteria. What is the condition? I'm looking for the condition which is referring to this cell. So it says I have 12 male employees. And I say females, I have 8 female employees. Fine. Okay. Okay. So now let us do one thing. We'll try to find how do we, what you say, count based on multiple criteria, multiple conditions. Okay. So now I want to find the number of employees which satisfies both the criteria. So that means I'll define a gender here, and if I define a grade here. So if I say, example, I have defined the gender as male and grade as B. So I want to know how many male employees with grade B are there in this particular list. Okay. So since I want to check with more than one condition, so we have this particular function called as count ifs, plural. So you can see here, so we have something called as count ifs. So count ifs is like for you want to count based on multiple conditions. Now my first parameter is the criteria range. Okay. So first thing is I want to look for the gender. Okay. And I say the actual criteria for the gender, I say refer to this cell, G24. So this will tell me how many male employees are there. But I want to go further filtering based on multiple criteria. I can just again define a comma. We can see here the data is given in the form of pair. That is criteria range, criteria. So that means 2 parameters, 1 page. The range, that is criteria range, criteria, criteria range, criteria. So it is something like this. So now the second criteria is I'm looking for grade. What should be the grade? So it has to refer to this particular cell. Okay, I just press enter. Now you can see a number of employees are 2, which is satisfying these 2 criteria. So you want to check this, so you can just filter it and you can check it out. I can just go to the data, say filter. I'll just say look for grade B. So, and under that grade B, look only for the male employees. So you can see we have only 2 employees with which satisfies both the criteria. Okay. Okay. So here I've used a count ifs is like based on multiple criteria, multiple conditions you want to satisfy. So you can go further. So out of this, or like say example A. So it says male employees with grade A, we have 6 employees. Or I say female employees. Female employees with grade A is only 1. Okay. So I want to see a grade C, how many employees are there. So we have 5 male employees with grade C. That means it is showing the record which satisfies both the criteria. So gender as well as the grade. So like this, it can be go with multiple criteria. Okay. So I say example, I want to further check. So let me remove this. Now further, I want to check in this particular 5 employees. I want to know how many people earn more than 5,000. So in that case, what I do, I just say net salary, and then what is the criteria is greater than or equal to 5,000. Okay, so that means we have 2 employees which satisfies all the 3 criteria. Gender is male. Okay, so that means we are referring to this particular gender. Okay, and then grade is G25. That means it is referring to this, and the net salary is this. So that means we have 3 criteria. So the employees who satisfies all the 3 criteria is out of 20. We have 2 employees which satisfies all the 3 criteria. Okay, so we have seen totally 5 counts are there. So we have something called as count, which counts only the numerical data. Count A will count the cell which contains the data. Okay, not empty cells. Okay, and blank will count only the empty cells. That is count if is like you want to count based on a single criteria. So whereas count ifs is you want to count based on multiple criteria. So I can say counts based on single condition criteria. condition. Okay. So count ifs is something which counts based on multiple conditions. Clear? Okay. So this is the use of count ifs. Okay. Any questions? In this particular session, we have seen how do we define the named range. So that is, we just select and we define the name. So it's not only for a cell, the name can be defined even for the range of data. It can be vertical, it can be horizontal, it can be even the whole table can be selected and we can define the name for that. Okay. And the second thing is we have seen how to use a count function. We have seen almost 5 different types of count functions. Okay.